welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be replacing this RockShox Select and installing a Marzocchi Bomber Air. Stick around, let's get into it. First step I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the rear wheel to let some of the weight off of the swing arm before we take the shock off. That's just to help protect the frame. I'm going to shove a rag in the space in here just to prevent the frame from hitting this rocker, or at least to lessen it best I can. Disassemble the top here. Go around the other side, just loosen them both. You gotta watch, there will be washers that come out from the sides of the top of the trunnion. Just try to keep track of all your stuff, because little pieces, washers and spacers will end up coming out. Same thing in the bottom. So when you go to take your bottom bolt out, your drive side has a nut on it. You're going to want to use a crescent wrench or a regular box end wrench just to hold that nut while you're loosening from the other side. And be careful, that'll start coming. When you take this bottom bolt out, you're going to have a couple spacers in there that are going to get loose and fall out as well. So we just go nice and slow, take our time, get the bolt out. Okay, bolt's free. And then these are our little spacers. Giant Trance does not have a bushing in the bottom of the shock eyelet. These are the little, I guess spacers you'd call them, that tend to fall out when you remove your shock. So what I'll do, since this is all dirty, before I install everything, I'll clean it all up and get it looking brand spanking new in there. Okay, so we're going to slowly take all the air out of the shock. I want to open it up and see how many volume spacers are in it. That way I can kind of match it up to what I'm going to be installing. So yeah, go ahead and let the air out. Main thing is to let it out slowly, go in small increments, because you don't want it to get sucked down or sucked in. If that condition happens, you have to be really, really cautious, because this can will explode back with a lot of force and you can get hurt. Now would be a good time to wear some safety glasses, just as an extra precaution. So let's go ahead and take our shock pump and screw it right into this shock. See what we're sitting at. I'm at about 170 psi, which is kind of around my normal. So we'll slowly take the air out. Okay, and we'll slide our little thing off. This might take a little bit. Been a little while. Alright, she is. Now you can always remove the Schrader core, but I feel pretty confident that I've got everything out of the shock. Start spinning her. Here we go. Shock's open. Okay, so what we have right here, this is kind of like a travel spacer. So this shock would be a 185 by 55, but because of this little spacer, it is a 185 by 52.5. And then right below that spacer, you can see the volume reducer up in there. So we're going to go ahead and pull that out and see exactly what size that is, and then I can match it up with what's in Marzocchi. So these are the volume spacers that came out of the RockShox Select. They are 4.7 millimeters a piece. Really, they're closer to just 4. I mean, when you're talking millimeters, it's not a huge difference. So the two of them equaled 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter thickness. So I'm going to compare that to what's inside the Bomber Air and then make a decision on how I want to start with it. It's just a baseline, so that way I know kind of where I'm starting. We're going to open up the bomber air real quick and check the token inside. I think it's a 0.4 and a 0.1, so it's a 0.5. But we'll take a look. We're going to lower the air really, really slowly, so that way we don't get sucked in. And we'll check the volume reducers real quick. I only had about 50 psi in here, just as a holding charge, until I started to install this. There we go. We're clear. Again, safety glasses, good idea. There we go, she's open. Now this is your stopper for bottom out. Same idea, you got a washer up in there. And then the volume spacers. There's your volume spacers right there, or tokens. You got two of them in there. It looks like it's a 0.4 and a 0.1. So I'm going to try to remove the 0.1 to match up with what I had existing. Okay, so I've removed the 0.1 spacer. Marzocchi volume spacers are different than Fox Float X spacers. They have a different cutout design for where the Schrader port and the rebound are. So don't try to fit your standard Fox volume spacers in there. You have to purchase Marzocchi volume spacers. When you're ready, close it up, pull your washer back all the way up to the top, and pull your bottom out bumper all the way up to the top. Now we can go ahead and close it. Now, if you don't like how the bike rides, or you feel that it's not using its travel, or it's using too much travel, you can install these volume spacers to kind of adjust the amount of volume you have in the shock, so that way your shock will perform a little bit differently. So more volume spacers, it's going to feel more progressive. Less volume spacers, it'll feel more linear. That's pretty much that. If you're bottoming out a lot, add a volume spacer. If you're not using any of the travel, try removing a volume spacer. So when we look at these two shocks, you'll notice one of them has a bushing in the bottom of the eye inlet. And the other one has no bushing. So we're going to pull the bushing out of this one. And we have a tool to do that. This is our bushing removal tool. So what this is this will ride on one side, and it's an open cup, so the bushing will slide right into that hole. Then this side will end up pushing that bushing right out. So let's do it. So all we do is take our rod, thread it through, see where it is. This side of the rod, start spinning that on. All right, she's close. Now we're going to take two crescent wrenches and we're going to push the bushing out. Okay, so once you get it nice and snug, you can just go off with one nut. Although holding back is preferable. Just go ahead, start turning her in, nice and slow. And then she will go. And our bushing is out. There she is, in the middle, one bushing removed. So with your bolt through, go ahead and slide a spacer on. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and put the other spacer in on the other side. Try to get that lined up. Sorry for the fingers. And then slide your shock right into place. Go ahead and start adjusting your bolt to go through. Go, she's through. All right, and then the final little touch up, your bottom bracket. Get it the rest of the way through. Here we go. That's into position. I'm going to spin my little nut right on here just to hold a couple threads on it before I go and attach the top. And this is regular righty-tighty. Okay, so go ahead and slide your shock up. Watch your little spacers that are already hanging out in there like we'd said before. All right, once you got them snug, go ahead and get out your torque wrench, torque them down to your spec. Once you torque up your 2 bolts up here, torque up your bolt down there. I just threw the tire back on. Go ahead, pull that. Look how pretty she is. I am super excited to ride on this thing. We'll have a ride review up on it. Have a difference between the regular Select Deluxe and this bad boy. And yeah, super excited. Now just for some nice weather where I can go out and use it. I want to say thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. Have a great day. Hit the subscribe button. Go out, ride that bike, and we'll see you next time.